5,000 years of peace, then humanity's beacon. Echoes through the universe, the world changed forever on a quiet Tuesday morning. Dr. Mina Kim stood at her laboratory window, watching sunrise paint the Seoul skyline gold. 5 generations had passed since the last armed conflict on Earth. The United Earth Federation flag fluttered peacefully above the city, its blue and white design representing the oceans and clouds that all humans shared. Mina checked her reflection in the glass. At 42, her face showed the first lines of age around her eyes, but they crinkled with the optimism that defined her generation. She turned back to her workstation where the Lumina project waited. "System status?" she asked. Her assistant, Tae Park, looked up from his console. "All green, Doctor. The quantum field is stable." The laboratory hummed with quiet energy as 20 of Earth's brightest minds prepared for today's test. The Lumina project represented humanity's most ambitious attempt to communicate faster than light. If successful, it would connect Earth's colonies across the solar system instantly, without the 20-minute delays that currently plagued Mars communications. "Begin primary sequence," Mina instructed. Holographic displays filled the air with swirling blue patterns as the quantum entanglement engines powered up. The room darkened slightly as the system drew massive power from Seoul's fusion grid. "Field integrity at 100%, reported Gina Oh, the team's quantum engineer. Her fingers danced across her interface. "Entanglement network established." President Sung himself had visited last week, emphasizing the importance of their work. 5,000 years ago, our ancestors were still fighting with swords and spears, he had said. Now we reach for the stars in peace. Your work represents the pinnacle of human achievement. Mina felt the weight of those words as she initiated the final sequence. "Prepare test message for Olympus base." Tae nodded. "Message ready. Greetings from Earth to Mars. The future begins today. Transmit." The laboratory fell silent as everyone watched the progress indicators. According to conventional physics, the message would take 20 minutes to reach Mars. If their theory worked, it would arrive instantly. "Signal away," said Gina. "Now we wait." But they didn't wait long. 15 seconds later, their communication panel chimed. "Incoming message from Olympus base." Tae exclaimed, his voice rising with excitement. Mina rushed to his station. "That's impossible. They couldn't have received our message yet." The screen displayed, "Message received." "How did you do that?" "Response time, instantaneous." The room erupted in cheers. People hugged each other, some crying with joy. They had done it. Faster than light communication was now reality. As the celebration continued around her, Mina noticed something strange on her monitor. The quantum field hadn't collapsed after transmission. Instead, it had expanded, reaching far beyond their intended target. "Tae," she called, "look at this." They stared at the readings together. According to their instruments, the quantum signal wasn't just reaching Mars. It was propagating outward, strengthening rather than weakening with distance. "This shouldn't be happening," Tae whispered. "The equations don't allow for this." Mina's excitement turned to concern. "Can we shut it down?" Gina was already trying. "Field isn't responding to termination commands. It's self-sustaining now." The celebration quieted as more team members noticed the problem. The quantum field had become something new, something unexpected. "Where is it going?" someone asked. Mina watched as the visualization showed the signal expanding past the orbit of Jupiter, then Saturn. "Everywhere," she answered softly. "It's going everywhere." Later that night, after endless tests and emergency meetings, Mina stood alone. In the laboratory, the Harmony Protocol, the advanced AI system that had helped maintain global peace for centuries, had classified their discovery as significant but non-threatening. The government accepted this assessment, but Mina wasn't so sure. She gazed at the stars visible through the laboratory's domed ceiling. For 5,000 years, humanity had enjoyed peace on Earth and slowly expanded through the solar system. Now, without meaning to, they had sent a powerful quantum beacon racing toward distant stars. "Hello? Is anyone out there?" she whispered. to the silent cosmos. She didn't know it yet, but across the vast emptiness of space, something had heard, and it was already answering. 5,000 years had passed since Dr. Mina Kim's accidental quantum breakthrough. Humanity had flourished in an age of unprecedented peace and prosperity. The solar system bloomed with human settlement, from the underground cities of Mercury to the floating habitats of Neptune. But nowhere remained more beautiful than Earth itself, transformed into a garden world of clean cities nestled within restored wilderness. Commander Do-Hyun Lee walked the observation deck of Helios Station, orbiting at Lagrange Point 1 between Earth and the Sun. At 63, his hair had grayed at the temples, but his posture remained straight, his eyes clear. Below him stretched the vast golden structure of the Helios Array, humanity's greatest achievement. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked a voice behind him. Do-Hyun turned to find Science Director Ji-Woo Han approaching. Her simple white uniform marked her as one of the project's senior designers. 5,000 years of human ingenuity, Do-Hyun said, nodding toward the array. The ancients would think we'd built a new sun. The Helios Array stretched nearly 100 kilometers across space, a delicate web of quantum relays and energy collectors that had taken 50 years to construct. Unlike Dr. Kim's accidental discovery millennia ago, this beacon was deliberate, designed to announce humanity's presence to the galaxy. "The final calibration test finished this morning," Ji-Woo said. "We're ready for activation." Do-Hyun frowned slightly. "And the council has given final approval?" "Yes. The vote was nearly unanimous." "Nearly?" Ji-Woo looked away. "I voted against." The commander wasn't surprised. Ji-Woo had always been cautious about the project. "Your concerns are noted in the record. For all the good that will do if I'm right." She handed him a data tablet. "Have you read the minority report?" He hadn't. The council had approved the project. That was enough for a military man like himself. Still, he respected Ji-Woo's brilliance. He accepted the tablet and scanned the summary. "You believe we're making ourselves vulnerable," he said. "I believe we're shouting into a dark forest," she replied. "Our ancestors were lucky. Their quantum signal was weak, unfocused. This one will reach across thousands of light years, announcing our location, our technology level, our very existence." Do-Hyun returned the tablet. The Harmony Protocol calculated the risk at less than 0.01%. The Harmony Protocol was programmed by humans who have known nothing but peace for 5,000 years. We've forgotten what danger feels like. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime. "Commander," said the station's AI, "the dignitaries have arrived for the activation ceremony." The observation deck transformed over the next hour. Representatives from every human settlement gathered, diplomats from Mars in their rust-red formal wear, delegates from the Jupiter moons in flowing blue robes, miners from the asteroid belt in practical jumpsuits adorned with precious metals. At the center stood President Min-Ju Park, the 193rd leader of the United Earth Federation. "Today marks humanity's formal introduction to the galaxy," President Park announced to the assembled crowd. "For 5 millennia, we have built peace among ourselves. Now we extend that hand of friendship to whoever might be listening." Do-Hyun took his place at the main control panel. As military commander of the Helios project, the honor of activation fell to him. Ji-Woo stood nearby, her face carefully neutral. "Quantum field integrity at 100%, reported an engineer. "Energy reserves at maximum capacity," added another. President Park nodded to Do-Hyun. "Commander, you may proceed." He placed his hand on the activation panel, hesitating only briefly as Ji-Woo's words echoed in his mind. Then he pressed down firmly. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the observation windows automatically darkened as the Helios Array flared with brilliant light. The quantum field expanded rapidly, creating a beacon visible across light years of space. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Humanity had announced itself to the stars. Later, as the celebration continued, Do-Hyun found Ji-Woo alone at a Yusa window, staring at the now glowing array. "Still worried?" he asked gently. The light we've just sent will take years to reach even the nearest stars, she said. But when it does, she turned to face him. We've just changed the course of human history, Do-Yun. I hope we're ready for what comes next. Neither of them noticed the small anomaly in the quantum field readings, a tiny echo returning from the direction of Proxima Centauri, as if something there had been waiting and listening all along. 3 months passed after the activation of the Helios Array. Earth celebrated its new status as a beacon of peace among the stars. Ships and satellites monitored the vast emptiness of space, but no one truly expected a response for decades or even centuries. Dr. Sung-Ho Kang sat alone in the dimly lit monitoring room of the Lunar Observatory. As the world's foremost xenolinguist, he had volunteered for the night shift no one wanted. Someone needed to watch the deep space receivers, even if most considered it a waste of time. Sung-Ho sipped his tea and stared at the screens showing nothing but cosmic background radiation. At 45, he had devoted his life to studying theoretical alien communication. Critics called him a dreamer chasing fantasies. "You've prepared your whole life for something that may never happen," his father once said. The clock showed 3:15 a.m. lunar time when the first anomaly appeared, a tiny blip in the quantum frequency bands from the direction of Proxima Centauri. Sung-Ho nearly missed it while stretching. "Computer analyze signal pattern from vector 2673211, he said, suddenly alert. "Signal appears artificial in origin," the computer responded. "Pattern contains mathematical sequences consistent with deliberate communication." Sung-Ho's heart raced. He checked the readings 3 times before believing what he saw. Then he pressed the emergency notification button that would wake half the scientific community. "This is not a drill," he said into the recorder. "First contact. Protocol is now active." Within hours, the Lunar Observatory transformed into the center of humanity's most important scientific endeavor. Scientists from every specialty arrived on emergency transports. The small monitoring room became a crowded command center. Director Jia Moon took formal control of the operation, but everyone turned to Sung-Ho when the signal strengthened. "It's definitely a response to our beacon," he explained to the gathered experts. "The transmission mimics our quantum field structure but adds new patterns, like someone repeating what we said and then adding their own words." "Can you decode it?" asked Commander Do-Hyun Lee, who had arrived on the first military transport. "I'm trying," Sung-Ho said. "The mathematical patterns are clear, but translating meaning is harder." For 3 days, Sung-Ho barely slept as he worked, with the most powerful quantum computers to decode the alien message. On the 4th day, his patience paid off. "I have something," he announced to the tired team. "They're sending images." The main screen filled with the first alien picture ever received by humans, a world of vast blue oceans with scattered islands rather than continents. Then came images of the aliens themselves, sleek, dolphin-like creatures with 4 manipulating tentacles and large, intelligent eyes. "The Proximans," whispered Jia, giving them a name that would enter human history. More images followed. Their cities built both underwater and in air-filled domes, their ships that traveled space, and finally, an image of the Helios Array itself, somehow captured from their distant star system. "They've been watching us," Commander Lee said grimly. The final image showed star maps with mysterious markings. Sung-Ho worked frantically to understand their meaning. "They're warning us," he finally said, looking up from his calculations. "Our beacon signal has traveled much farther than we anticipated. It's been detected by multiple civilizations. Ambassador He Jin-yoon arrived the next day to prepare for possible alien contact." She had just finished reviewing Sung-Ho's findings when the observatory's sensors detected something new. A ship had entered the solar system, decelerating toward Earth. "How is that possible?" Commander Lee demanded. "Proxima Centauri is over, 4 light-years away. They couldn't have received our message and traveled here so quickly, unless they were already on their way," Sung-Ho suggested. "Or they have technology far beyond ours." 3 days later, humanity gathered around screens everywhere as the alien ship entered Earth orbit. It was beautiful, a spiral structure that glowed with blue-green light. The first transmission from the ship was directed to Sung-Ho's team. "We come in peace," he translated slowly. "But we bring urgent news. Your beacon has been heard by those who have been listening for thousands of years. Some come as friends, others do not. You must prepare." As Ambassador Hyejin prepared to welcome humanity's first extraterrestrial visitors, Sungho couldn't help but wonder if the 5,000 years of peace were coming to an end. The arrival of the Proximan ship changed everything. Within days, 6 more alien vessels entered the solar system. Each carried representatives from different star systems, all responding to humanity's beacon. Commander Do-hyun Lee stood at the window of the newly established First Contact Center in Geneva. Outside, crowds gathered to catch glimpses of the alien visitors arriving for the first official meeting of the Galactic Conclave on Earth. "I never expected to see this in my lifetime," he said quietly. Beside him, Dr. Sung-ho Kang nodded. In the weeks since first contact, Sung-ho had become humanity's chief interpreter. Dark circles under his eyes showed the strain of learning 6 different communication systems simultaneously. "The Proximans say this is just the beginning," Sung-ho replied. "More are coming." Do-hyun frowned. Not all the news had been good. 3 of the visiting species brought warnings similar to the Proximans. Humanity's beacon had traveled far beyond their expectations, reaching ancient civilizations at the edges of the galaxy. Security Director Junho Choi entered the room, his yae face serious. "The council session is about to begin." They walked together to the grand meeting hall where representatives from Earth's government sat across from the alien delegates. The aliens varied wildly in appearance, from the dolphin-like Proximans to the crystalline structures of the beings called Luminars. At the center of the alien delegation sat Counselor Minji Kwan. Not an alien at all, but a human. 50 years. Earlier, her great-grandparents had been taken from Earth by explorer ships from the Cygnus system. Humanity had not been as alone as they thought. "The gathering begins," announced President Yuri Park. "We welcome our visitors from the stars." Minji stood, her translator device converting her words for all present. "The Galactic Conclave recognizes Earth and welcomes humans to the greater community, but we bring urgent news." Holographic displays activated, showing star maps of the galaxy. Red markers appeared at the outer rim. "The Voidborn have detected your beacon," Minji explained. "They have already dispatched scout ships to your system." Murmurs spread through the human delegation. Sung-ho leaned forward. "Who are the Voidborn?" The Proximan delegate answered, its tentacles moving gracefully as it spoke. "They evolved in the darkness between galaxies. They consider all emerging civilizations as threats to the natural order. They destroy what they do not understand." Security Director Junho stood up sharply. "And how long do we have to prepare?" "Their fastest ships could arrive within months," Minji said. The meeting dissolved into chaos as government officials argued about the proper response. Some wanted to shut down the Helios array immediately. Others suggested weaponizing it. The 5,000 years of peace had left humanity unprepared for conflict. Later that evening, Do-hyun found himself in an emergency council session. Junho presented plans to convert Earth's scientific outposts into defensive positions. "We must arm our ships," Junho insisted. 5,000 years of peace has made us complacent." Others disagreed. "We cannot abandon our principles at the first sign of danger," argued Counselor Han. "Violence is not our way." The alien representatives watched the debate with interest. The Proximan delegate approached Do-hyun afterward. "Your people argue as if this is your decision alone," it said through its translator. "But the beacon has made your fate part of the galaxy's fate. The Voidborn do not come only for you. They come for all who would connect with you." That night, Do-hyun couldn't sleep. From his window, he watched the alien ships glowing in orbit around Earth. Humanity had waited so long to learn they weren't alone in the universe. Now that knowledge might end their long peace. His communication device chimed. A message from the Lunar Observatory. The long-range sensors had detected something at the edge of the solar system. "Multiple objects moving fast." "How many?" he asked the duty officer. "At least 20 ships," came the reply. and they're not responding to any communication attempts. Do-hyun looked again at the peaceful Earth below him, knowing everything was about to change. The Voidborn scouts had arrived earlier than anyone predicted. Humanity's 5,000 years of peace had ended. The gathering storm had finally reached them. The Voidborn scout ships hovered at the edge of the solar system, dark shapes against the stars. They had not attacked yet, but their presence filled every human with dread. On Earth, in the halls of the United Earth Federation, humanity faced its greatest test since achieving peace 5,000 years ago. Commander Do-hyun Lee studied the defense plans spread across the holographic table. Security Director Junho advocated converting the Helios array into a weapon, focusing its quantum field into a destructive beam that might destroy the approaching Voidborn before they could strike. "We have no choice," Junho insisted. 5,000 years of peace ends today if we don't act. Council Elder Eunji Ryu, at 97, the oldest voice in the chamber, shook her head. "We have always had choices. That is what makes us human." Do-hyun felt torn between his duty to protect and his belief in peace. As debate raged around him, he slipped away to the archives beneath Geneva. Something had been bothering him. A memory of his history studies. A story half remembered about the first days after Dr. Mina Kim's discovery. The archives were quiet and cool. Few people visited anymore, preferring the convenience of digital records. But some secrets were kept only in physical form. Do-hyun searched through files dating back thousands of years until he found what he sought. A small storage device labeled First Contact Protocol, Classified. His security clearance unlocked the ancient files. What he discovered stunned him. According to these records, Dr. Kim's accidental quantum signal had received a response 5,000 years ago. The early United Earth government had covered it up, fearing humanity wasn't ready. A message appeared on his communicator. Emergency Council session in 30 minutes. Final vote on array weaponization. Do-hyun rushed back to the council chambers, the evidence clutched in his hand. When he arrived, Dr. Sungho was presenting his findings. "I've been analyzing the Voidborn communications," Sungho explained. "Their language is strange, but I believe I've created a modified signal that might show our peaceful intentions." "We don't need communication," Junho interrupted. "We need weapons." Do-hyun stepped forward. "Before we vote, there's something everyone needs to see." The room fell silent as he displayed the ancient records. "We've been here before," he said quietly. 5,000 years ago, we received a response to our first signal. Our ancestors chose to hide it, believing humanity wasn't ready for contact. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. President Yuri looked stunned. "Is this verified?" "The records are authentic," Do-hyun confirmed. "And they show that the Voidborn contacted us then too. Not as enemies, but as watchers. They've been waiting for us to truly announce ourselves." Counselor Minji Kwan stepped forward. "This matches Conclave records. The Voidborn don't attack without provocation. They observe first." "Then why the fleet?" Junho demanded. "Because they don't trust easily," Minji replied. "But they respect strength shown through restraint." Dr. Sungho moved to Do-hyun's side. "My modified signal could work. It would show we understand the power we've created but choose not to use it as a weapon." The council chamber grew quiet as everyone considered the options before them. 5,000 years of peace hung in the balance. "We vote now," President Yuri announced. "Do we weaponize the Helios array, or do we follow the path of peace that has served us for 5 millennia? The vote was close, but peace won by a single voice, Elder Eunji's. 3 days later, as the Voidborn ships drew closer, the modified Helios array activated. Instead of a weapon, it projected a message of understanding across the quantum field, an invitation rather than a threat. For tense hours, the alien fleet hovered at the edge of the solar system. Then one by one they moved forward, not in attack formation but in a pattern that mirrored the peaceful approach of the Galactic Conclave ships. "They're responding," Sungho announced as new signals reached Earth. On the viewing platform of The Geneva Tower Dohyun watched the skies fill with ships from across the galaxy. Humanity had faced its test and chosen peace once again. The 5,000 years had not been in vain. "What happens now?" asked a young aide beside him. Dohyun smiled. "Now we truly join the stars.